Everyone. Today's topic is the House believes that news organizations should prioritize slow journalism over real-time reporting. We define that expectation include emergency alerts, such as those issued during crisis. We have 2 points. The first point is providing accurate information. The second point is elucidation of the root cause and presentation of the deep solution. Solution. I will explain the first point, providing accurate information. Now, many news outlets prioritize real-time news. In real-time reporting, media organization cooperate to relay the information faster than the competitors, which can lead to stories being published before facts have been fully verified. As a result, incorrect or incomplete information can spread, posing a risk of misleading the public. Examples including article on international relation and misinformation regarding AI. Once misinformation spread, it cannot be completely, even if occurs later, and many people may continue to believe the miscontent. In short, the current style, which prioritizes getting information out the large audience quickly, carries a very high risk of spreading misinformation. If the media broadcasts other stories that affect international relations, such as some country is engaging dangerous activities, or some country has terrorized other country, and the story turned out to be miss, the resulting deterioration is international relations, or in the worst case, the outbreak of war could be in news has a huge impact because so many people watch it. Much of the reporting improves matters of life, and this uh, the likelihood of such as outcome is very high. Therefore, we should prioritize slow journalism to prevent this kind of source. But after taking this motion, we can provide accurate information. This is because slow journalism improving slowly in investigating the subject. I will explain process. First, prioritize the slow journalism style. Stop broadcasting incoming information immediately. Investigate the information. Conduct the thorough investigation and craft the article. While investigation identify and correct any error or contradiction in the information, correct various other mistakes as well, correct any that might let errors. Produce a high quality error-free article. Broadcast can article. We
POI.
like, no, thank you. We can provide accurate information to large audience without error. That is very important. This is because accurate information is vital for people to make important decisions based on the news. News has a significant impact on public opinion. Political Political decision making as a response to social issue. If incorrect information spreads, people may act based on information, which could lead to social chaos and dis distrust. It is difficult to completely through journalism includes the number of capable of making sound judgments, leading to greater stability for society as a whole. So, therefore, we should prioritize through judgment to prevent this kind of social and our Shimurain is a better world. So we propose this motion. Thank you.
In a world where people are want to know everything about the world and it is based on consumerism, misinformation can be common, but with the exception of news organizations. So I would like to start with my rebuttals. So you have stated that misinformation may be spread when the news is fast and news organizations might not have enough time to verify these information. But I would like to point out that these are official news organizations, so they have to be able to have some level of verification before being able to publish some sort of information out towards the public. So the information can still be accurate because they're not just going to like make something up just because data is missing. They still need some form of verification. And if they cannot confirm something, then they will not be putting it in the news, but they might update the news later. And another point that I would like to add is that people, they want to hear the news fast. They want to know what's happening right now. So if these types of news are slow journalism, then people will still find another way to go get their news, whether it's from social media. And another example that I can give is TikTok or Instagram. And especially with these social media platforms having unverified news, then you can even get even more misinformation because you're looking at the news from TikTok just because news organizations are publishing slow information. Now, moving on to my first point that I would like to say, which is my definitions, and then I will be moving on to the stakeholders and the burden in this debate. So, I would like to define news organizations as organizations that make money from displaying information or the news to the world. So, this can be organizations such as BBC or New York Times, in which they spread the news through articles, live videos, or radio podcasts. And to prioritize is to do something more than the other thing. So we're not saying that slow journalism should be banned or anything, but we're just saying that we should do real-time reporting more than slow journalism. And slow journalism is a delay in reports, but the information will be more accurate and precise. So this looks like a delay of about 12 hours to 3 days, or in serious cases, maybe even up to 2 weeks. So this causes the action from the public to be slower. So in real-time reporting, you report instantly with the known data. This does not mean that you will get a lot of misinformation, because they will only publish what they can know and what they can verify, or else it is not going to be unfair to the public because it is fake news, especially with these big news organizations such as BBC, right? And real-time reporting, the news will reach the public faster, and you get faster action. So for example, this can look like breaking news or writing quick reports. So the stakeholders in this debate is that the public, which will consume information from these news sources, and the news organizations, which will display the news and collect data from different sources. We have to prove why real-time reporting benefits the public more, which I will prove, and my second speaker will continue to prove in our arguments. My first argument will be about, yes?
Okay, are you going to spread misinformation even after spending 2 weeks investigating?
So we are not going to spread misinformation. We are going to only give the information that we currently know. For example, if there is like a murder case or something, and we do not know who is the murderer yet, we're not just going to spread on the news and pinpoint that, hey, this guy is the murderer. No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to give known information, for example, who was killed. But then later, when the news updates its information, then we can report that once we find out who's the murderer, then we can report that this person murdered this person. But as for breaking news, we just have to display in the information that, okay, this person was killed. So my first argument is about how slow journalism is not suitable in this fast-paced world. So people want to know things fast and what's happening right now. This is partially due to our short attention spans nowadays. So we are more likely to be hooked with things that are happening currently. And also because why would anything that happened 2 days ago matter to you now? Let's say if you open the news in the morning, right? Would you want to hear about a news that happened like 4 days ago, but not the thing that is happening right now? So as I've already explained, this works by that the news organizations will update their information about the news as the case progresses. So you are living in the present and not in the past. So the benefits of this is that the news organizations will be able to get more money from people because the people are more engaged with the news that it's happening right now. So they're more likely to watch it because they can take action. So, for example, if there's a fire right now at an area near your workplace, then you watch the live news and you know what's happening currently so that you can plan that, okay, I need to change my route to work. Instead of taking the usual route that the traffic will be worse because of the fire, then change it to a different route, to a different place. But if the news was delayed due to slow journalism, then you might still take the same path to work and get stopped by traffic and eventually be late. So there's a lot of benefits by knowing things that are happening right now. And also because it can help with things such as natural disasters or things that need to be known urgently, which my second speaker will elaborate further in her arguments. So in conclusion, our side of the House believes that slow journalism should not be prioritized in news organizations because it can cause people to take action slower and also cause a lot of harm to the profitability of the news organizations as well.
I will explain our points. Recently, most of media convey information in real time. This may also be important, but we don't think so. So I will now explain the reason. Elucidation of the root cause and presentation of a deep solution. Our second major argument focuses on how we understand the world. The fundamental purpose of journalism is not just to show us what happened, but to help us understand why it happened and how we can fix it. Real-time reporting treats news like entertainment. It focuses on shocking events to capture immediate attention. However, complex global issues can't be understood through 60-second updates or breaking news alerts. We need media landscape that prioritize depth over speed. After taking this motion, meaning once news organizations actively shift their resources to prioritize show journalism, we fundamentally change the relationship between the media and society. We stop treating news as a disabled commodity. Instead, we our journalists to investigation the structure, historical, and systemic roots of global crisis. This motion transforms the news from a simple mirror of chaos into a tool for actual societal progress. I will explain the process of how this shift creates a more informed and problem-solving society in three clear steps. First, the process of deepening investigation. In a show journalism model, when a major event occurs, such as a sudden economic crash or a protest, journalists do not rush to publish unverified rumors within 5 minutes. Instead, they spend weeks or months talking to experts, analyzing data, and uncovering hidden corruption. They connect the
UI.
no, thank you. That's the real-time reporting completed ignorance. Second, the process of comprehensive farming. Because the rush for clicks is eliminated, the news shifts from reporting a single event to developing the entire system. For instance, instead of just showing the footage of a riot, show journalism uncovers the years of poverty, racial discrimination, and policy failures that caused injury in the first place. Such the process of providing real solution. In this final stage of process, news organization can offer concrete, constructive pathway forward. They show what policies are working in other countries and what actions citizens and lawmakers can take. They transition the audience from passive sorry spectators into active informed participants. Therefore, it is important because a society can solve problems it does not truly understand. Real-time reporting flips the public feeling overwhelmed, angry, and powerless because it only shows the systems of a sick society, never the cure. If we want to address climate change, economic inequality, and geopolitical conflicts, we need deep analysis, not just first notification. Prioritizing through journalism ensures that the media fulfills its democratic duty to educate, enlighten, and empower the public. For this reason, we strongly urge a proposed motion. The opposition may argue that real-time reporting is necessary to save lives during this month. However, let us be clear, we are not demanding to eliminate real-time us completely. We are saying that news organizations should change their priorities. Basic life-saving artists such as earthquake or tsunami warning are already effectively provided by governments and public agencies. There is absolutely no need for chemical news organizations to engage in request speed competition for clicks under the acres of public safety. Instead, their valuable resources, boards and journalists, should be prioritized for sure journalism that analyze the deep impact after the crisis. A better world is most important. And they said even with ample time, mistakes can still happen. However, we think accuracy will improve, so it is not always true. Society can't solve problems it does not truly understand. It's very important. So we propose this motion. Thank you.
Side proposition assumes that all of the news that are quickly reported will be inaccurate, will be wrong, and will be misinformation. But in fact, all of these news that are reported are from official news companies, which means that instead of quickly reporting these news just for headline coverage, just for interaction, they are doing this to inform the public as fast as they can and with the most accurate information that there is. A few things I'll be doing in my debate. First of all, I will be rebutting the second speaker from team proposition, and then later moving on to my team's second and third substantive arguments. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with the rebuttals, one key point that I've identified from their argument is that complex news requires slow journalism, which is an overgeneralization. Complex news don't require slow journalism. They can be broken down, and it can be a continuous series of news, like updates every day, instead of taking months or weeks to actually break down these news and give a comprehensive report, which can later lead to delayed news and slower action. Also, just to mention, the more complex these news are, the less people it reaches. Because, like in this world, like my first speaker stated, people don't have enough attention span to read these comprehensive reports. Instead, they rely on short and simple and accurate information from official news sites, which is what we as team opposition are advocating for. Now, moving on to my second rebuttal. They said that in situations like protests and economic downfalls, news organizations take months to research these complex events and to break them down. In fact, that is strongly incorrect because a large team of people do the research and work, and then they fact check it, they do some more fact checking, and then later they publish these news within 3 hours minimum because of the large scale of people who are working on these complex situations. Also, these news companies won't let these complex situations take months to be reported because, first of all, they're complex and they're important. If it's a protest or a riot, it means that the public must be informed immediately. Otherwise, it will cause harm towards children and women. And second of all, these complex events consisting of economic downfalls should be immediately reported because of how risky it is for the public to be facing these things without precautions. And now moving on to my third rebuttal. Political conflicts need deep analysis. That is incorrect. Political conflicts need accurate analysis, not deep analysis. They need accurate analysis, fast analysis, and quick reportations for the public and the world to see. Otherwise, these conflicts will be delayed, which means that the actions of these conflicts will be already taken on the citizens, which then will lead to more conflicts and ultimately chaos. Now, instead, we should save complex situations such as long-term law changes or future events for slow journalism, and then later focus on complex events that are important and vital for the public to know. And then we should make these key things into normal and fast journalism instead of taking time to break them down into different key points. Now, let's take a look at my team's second substantive argument, that real-time reporting is vital for public safety. So what exactly does public safety look like? It looks like immediate prevention of harm from threats like crime, violence, emergencies, and disasters. All of these threats are vital. All of these threats are contain high risks for the public to face. And it also looks like minimizing risks of fatality from injuries like riots or protests, and ensuring that citizens feel safe so they can remain their life and then they can go work on their life from a day-to-day basis, without needing to worry about anything that's going to be happening to them. So why is public safety important? First of all, it ensures safety and security within a society, which it is essentially a foundation of a successful and developed community, which is something that we want to reach as a society. And without these immediate news reports, we are obviously not going to achieve public safety, which is why my team strongly advocates for this motion to fall. Now, why is real-time reporting vital for public safety exactly? First of all, it is a trusted source of information since it's coming from official news sources, which are always accurate and never spread misinformation. And second of all, citizens can then later take precautions such as evacuation during these natural disasters and taking shelter during shootings or any outbursts that require immediate action. It is a continuous flow of information that constantly updates the public depending on how much issue there's going on. Now, moving on to my impacts. Why is slow journalism exactly bad for the public safety? Well, first of all, it takes time to verify. It's not urgent, and the more time it takes, the less of the public is informed, because the effects from these news will already be taken because of the fact of the delays. And second of all, why should we exactly care about the speed of news? First of all, it's where most of the people look for information, right, on the news websites. So if we make these news public, if these news get publicized slowly, it means that these people will later move on to social media or SNS platforms such as Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook, which can contain heavy levels of misinformation, which is what we as a whole debate don't want these citizens to be at risk of. Now, moving on to my team's third substantive argument, that news economies will face a downfall. What does a downfall look like? What does the downfall of these news publishers look like? First of all, there will be less people reading these news and less people checking out on these news, because the public, like I've said before, moves over to SNS platforms that are strongly that provide quicker information. And third of all, instead of following official news articles, since they're taking longer time, the public will not be informed of these issues at all. So why will it face a downfall exactly? Because first of all, the public will seek out for faster new reports, because that's how humans are. We want to know what's going on, right? And then why is this downfall bad exactly? First of all, like I've stated multiple times in my speech, that fake news will be common. And second of all, news organizations will get less money, which means that these organizations will shut down. So, panel, I ask you one last question. Are you going to support a team that advocates for immediate action for the public, or are you going to support a team that keeps delaying the news that the public requires to know? Please choose the correct answer. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Yuzuna. We propose this motion our important point is a better world. It is good because the the purpose of journalism is to accurately convey objective facts to the public, to scrutinize and criticize politics, government, and large corporations for any misconduct or corruption, and to provide a diverse range of information and options to help citizens think about and discuss social issues. Through journalism, prioritize accuracy and depth over speed, which is why it can fulfill the purpose of journalism by providing accurate and in-depth information. It enables people to make better judgment about society and politics without being swayed by misinformation. So it is big important. And I will summarize our point. First point is that a fast mistake can spread in minutes, but rebuilding trust can take years. It is good. And our second point is society can't solve problems it doesn't truly understand. What today's society needs is not reporting, but reporting based on in-depth analysis. So it's a good. So next, I will move on the attack. I have the 8th attack for opposition's point. First, it may be important to know what's happened right now, but if the information is wrong, people will take the wrong course of action that defeats the purpose, so it is not overshoot. And next, second, simply knowing what is happening isn't enough. For example, if you just say a demonstration took place, people want to know why it happened, what the background is, or who is affected. As a result, people cannot understand the situation properly. It's not the quantity of information that matters, but the quality of understanding. So it is not origin. Next,
POI.
right.
So these news sources, they actually need some sort of verification before they publish the news, so there will be enough understanding for the public, because like you can't report a news if you don't know who's doing it or what's happening.
Okay. After talking, precisely because social media already provides breaking news. News organizations should focus on the laws that only they can fulfill verification and in-depth reporting, so it is not always true. And next, on social media, misinformation take out of context that may and unverified information spread instantly. That is pretty why people need news organization, not to provide information even faster, but to verify what is true. So, next, also the topic of this debate is that slow journalism should be prioritized. The other side, plus personal to create a new organization dedicated to breaking news is contradictory. And next, while their report or conveying what is happening in real times, as I've said many times before, reporting breaking news without verifying the facts can lead to the spread of misinformation. That is precisely why news organization exists, to verify what is the truth. So next, if you just want
POI.
Sorry. There are other ways to get it, for example, social media or searching engines, but there are few ways to convey accurate information to a large audience. That's why it's better to research through before broadcasting. And next, they said that even if it takes time, false information will flow. However, they also said that there would be no misinformation after that. Therefore, we think your opinion are contradictory. So their opinion doesn't stand. And our important point is a better world. Okay, POI.
So if people rely on social media first for their source of information while waiting for the official news, then there will be even more misinformation because people will believe what they see first. And on social media, it's quite unofficial stuff. No one has verified anything.
Social media, not always correct information. So, and on social media, misinformation taken out of context statement and unverified information spread instantly. That is not always true. Okay. Information on social media isn't always reliable, so it is not always true. So we propose this motion. Thank you.
My name is Kin, and I'm the third speaker of side opposition. And today, I'll be proving why the news stations should provide real-time reporting over slow journalism. My speech would look like this. I would get into my rebuttals, and then I would get into my 4 clash points of this debate. Okay, so my first rebuttal is when side proposition says that these mistakes cannot be taken back because, and this is illogical because these live broadcasts focus on a system where they only talk about the verified information that they have, not just the slow assumptions. They also get the information on the time, and they'll eventually build on it, like my previous speakers have said. And even if they made mistakes, the public would expect this anyway because this information is new. They're unsure, and it's being produced live. Secondly, the news is still new and it's live. So my second rebuttal to side proposition is when they said we should use slow journalism that require research. Well, this is illogical because, firstly, we should still try to make it as quick as possible because obviously these companies' goal is to make money, and they do this by gaining attraction, and they gain attraction by printing loads and loads of content all the time. And I'm not saying that they're just chucking random shots. I'm saying that this is verified news. It may not be very detailed, but it's 100% sure. And secondly, even if it's really deep, we could still confirm. We can still take a bit of time, maybe 3 days, because I'm pretty sure it does not take 1 whole month just to verify every single piece of news that you get. Thirdly, when side proposition says that the fast-paced news focuses on printing news and not verifying, this is false because every single news channel also they at least consider rechecking their information because they also need to be quick and correct because they still need to make sure that they still beat their competition. They also consider what makes them successful, not just printing fast news. And my fourth rebuttal is when side proposition says that the fast-paced news gives less information. This is wrong because fast-paced news just means that we're reporting in live time. It does not mean we're not going to build off of it and improve more and more. We would just use the information that we currently have, and then we'll put it on the internet and spread it into many sectors until it's eventually complete. Okay. My next rebuttal is when proposition says that months of research would be 100% accurate. Well, this is true, but wouldn't it just be better if you slowly put those parts in the internet, in slow, less detailed parts, more and more, every regular updates, like my second speaker said, you give 1-2 day updates every single time, and you put it on the internet. That would get way more interaction, and that would make way more money. And that it wouldn't even take 1 month. It would take at most 2 weeks, which fits our side because we're trying to make these companies successful. We're not just trying to make these news go out quickly. Okay. My next rebuttal is when side opposition says that the goal of news stations are to provide accurate information. Well, this is illogical because both sides have agreed on this point that these news stations only care about making money, and they make this money by providing accurate information. I agree with that, but they also need to do it quickly. They need to beat competition to succeed. It's not just whoever has the most accurate news succeeds. It's also about who's the fastest, who the audience clicks on first. My last rebuttal is when side opposition says that social media provides the news. Well, this is illogical because, firstly, where do you think these social medias actually get this information? And secondly, people would still go back and check the news and just to make sure. And the news that they check first is the fastest one, which is where we come in. This is where we succeed. This is how us fast producing channels benefit more to this debate. So the first flashpoint of this debate is the likelihood of misinformation on quick posting. Well, what we said is we don't just use assumptions. We just verify this data and provide it in sections. But they said that if we just do it fast, we're gonna get it wrong without any further building up. And our side is more likely because obviously these news stations don't only care about making content. They also care about making accurate, but they just prioritize it more, as said in the motion. So that clash goes to us. Secondly, the second clash point of this debate is the success of these news stations. So on our side, we talked about how there's more content, which leads to more engagement, which leads to more money, which is our goal. And we also said that urgent news gets spread quickly, which this encourages these people to check our news channel because they want to stay safe. It's for their safety. It's the most important thing in life. But what they said is just misinformation would lead to less trust, would lead to less engagement, which our whole team has rebutted. And let me weigh these two, okay? So on our side, we get more engagement from these people who really want to save their lives, and we also make more money. But on their side, they're just talking about how if we make mistakes, which we have proven that it's really low chance, we will get less trust. And they haven't proved why trust matters. My third clash point of this debate is the engagement from the public that we'll get from each of our worlds. So what we've said is that we will get more engagement because we get more content, which my whole team has been basing their arguments on. But what on their side, they've just said that we get more information because we get more trust from accuracy with no real mechanization that hasn't been rebutted. Which I'm gonna weigh these two. Would you rather have more content or more accuracy? Because if you get more content, you're gonna eventually get built more. And as my first speaker has talked about, these people have short attention spans. They want it right now. They don't want to wait. They want it right now. And they also get more information. But on their side, they're just saying that the accurate one would definitely get more clicks. And the last and final clash point of this debate is the public expectations of the mistakes. So what we've said is that these public people still have common sense. They know that this information is new and that we could get it wrong sometimes, which we still barely get it wrong, but like they don't expect that much from us. But on their side, they just said, oh, the public are definitely going to neglect this because they expect the news place to be perfect. Well, our side is more likely because obviously the public don't expect everything to be perfect on our side. They also expect mistakes because all humans make mistakes. That is a normal thing for us. So that is why I'm so proud to oppose this motion. Thank you.
Team Proposition was given 21 minutes to present their best arguments. They were given exactly 21 minutes to rebut our arguments, to present their wonderful arguments, and then to defend their case. But instead, it seems to us as a whole debate that they spent these 21 minutes on repeating the same arguments and never engaging with our side. A few things I will be doing in my reply speech. First of all, I will be showing the stakeholders or actors of this debate and comparing the two worlds that we're debating for, the world of team proposition and the world of team opposition, which is our world, and then later showing to you why we benefit these stakeholders more. And then I'll be moving on to I'll be moving on to why we as a team did better and then pointing out some things that their team failed to do, and then later giving you a verdict about why I believe that our team has won. So let's get started with the actors of this debate. Three actors I've identified. First of all, the public. Well, the public safety also. And second of all, the accuracy of news, right? That's very important. And third of all, news organizations. So, what does team proposition give to these three actors? First of all, they they give them deep research of information, but it's at the risk of delay, and it's at the risk of that the public would then turn to SNS, which our team has constantly said throughout this debate. And second of all, accuracy. They offer deep research, but at the cost of speed and time. Although the information might be accurate and the information might be more trustworthy, it is still at the risk of how much of the information will be exposed to the public by the time of publication. And third of all, new organizations. What do they give? Well, essentially, they are making these new organizations fail because less people are going to read them. Because, first of all, the articles are too long and take too much time to be published. And if these situations are complex and deep, and then but we still take on slow journaling, it means that less people will actually be exposed to these complex situations due to the length and time it is taken. So what does our side of the house offer for these stakeholders? First of all, for the public, we offer quick and accurate information. Although they keep saying that, oh, we won't offer them accurate information. That is completely untrue because news channels and news organizations are required to be accurate. And second of all, accuracy of news. Of course, it's going to be accurate, and then it's going to be straightforward, and it doesn't take much time to finish reading it. So the information goes through in one try. And third of all, news organizations. They're going to keep getting money, and they're going to keep getting to prioritize faster news to help the public understand what's going on. So a key mistake strategically made by their side of the house. First of all, they did not accept and ask enough POIs, and they ignored our strongest arguments about economic downfall and because it questions whether these companies will succeed or not, and did not challenge the current status quo, which our team is defending. They also didn't challenge our argument about public safety and only focused on accuracy, which we rebutted already. So, panel, I ask you to support a team that actually takes in counter of the current status quo and takes in counter of all the public citizens that are being exposed to these news. Please make the correct decision. Thank you.
Hello everyone. We propose this motion. First, our important point is a better world. It is because the media affects many people. That's why improving the media's approach can make society better. Making society better has a positive impact on people. So it is very important. And our stance is that the most important things for the media is convey information accurately. But on this point, the idea is it's better to deliver information quickly. But our idea is superior. It is because they also, we think they also said that there would be no misinformation other that. Therefore, we think your opinions are contradictory. It is because we think if they just want to information quickly, there are other ways to get it. For example, social media or search engage. But on social media, misinformation taken out of context statement and unverified information spread instantly. That is precisely why people need news organizations, not to provide information even faster, but so verify what is true. But there are a few ways to convey accurate information to a large audience. That's why it's better to research thoroughly before broadcasting. So their opinion is contradictory and not strongly. So next, we have a big impact for people. It is because it is because accurate information is vital for people to make important decisions based on the news. News has a significant impact on public opinion, political decisions making, and response to social issues. If incorrect information spreads, people may act based on false information, which could lead to social chaos and distrust. It is difficult to completely correct misinformation once it has spread. Therefore, prioritizing through journalists increases the number of citizens capable of making sound judgment, leading to society as a whole. So, so, uh, so, through journalists style is very big impact for society. So, a better world is most important. So we propose this motion. Thank you.